Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Unbiased Election Predictions, and we're going to return to our swing state analysis with the state of Iowa. So we've already talked about the state of Arizona, characterized as a lean Biden state, and then we talked about Florida, characterized as a tilt Trump state, although that could change, and then we talked about Georgia, characterized as a lean Trump state. Now, we're going to go to Iowa, and again, these two districts are tilt, so they are competitive, but it's hard to analyze them because of the lack of data. These are two very small districts, and Nebraska's second is a flip, actually. And presidential election video coming out later, beginning of October. I was originally going to have it out, tomorrow, but that is not going to happen, unfortunately. But so instead, we're going to talk about the state of Iowa. Now, Iowa is a really interesting state because this was considered to be a swing state, and it is a swing state still. But if we look, let's go to the state Iowa. So 2016, Donald Trump, he won this state by a very good amount. He won it by nearly 10%, which is huge because Barack Obama, he'd won that state previously by nearly 5%. So you have nearly a 15% swing to the right. That's insane. 2008, Obama won it by a similar margin, by 9%. 2004, John Kerry narrowly lost to George Bush, and I'm talking narrowly, he lost by less than 10,000 votes. 2000, Al Gore actually lost the election, but won Iowa by 4,000 votes. So Iowa does have very, very contested elections. So I do think that Iowa will be close this year, even though it was not really that close in 2016. So we're just going to look at the predictions for Iowa. The Cook Political Report, Sabato's Crystal Ball, Politico, CNN, The Economist, 270 to win, ABC News, NPR, and 538 rate it as leaning, Republican leaning. Trump, the most recent one on September 21st, had it as lean as well. And Inside Elections has it as tilt Republican, but RCP, Niskanen, CBS News, NBC News have it as a toss-up. So I'm going to characterize the state, obviously, have it as a toss-up right now, or as labeled swing state, rather. But we're going to talk about Iowa and come into a conclusion. We're going to analyze a lot of stuff in this video. So before we start, though, I'm going to ask you to smash that like button. Liking this video helps me out so much, I cannot even tell you. Subscribe if you haven't already. It's ambitious. I know it's very ambitious, but we have a little less than a month to go till November 3rd, which is election day. Can we get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the election? I think we can. Again, the face reveal, I'm really sorry about that. I'll do my best to tell you when I can do that. It's been a little disorganized, but I will try my best. And then keep asking questions in the Google form. So, yeah. And then fill out fantasy politics as well. You can still fill that out. All the way until November 2nd. So, essentially, Iowa. So, this is a state, again, as I mentioned, was very contested in 2012, 2008, not really, 2004, and 2000. So, 3 of the 5 elections was contested. In 4 of the past 5 elections, it has voted with the winner. The exception, of course, was in 2000, where it did vote with the winner of the popular vote. That was Al Gore. So, first, we're going to look at the midterm election results. And the Democrats did very well in the midterms. They flipped 2 House seats, and they won the popular vote in the state of Iowa by 4%. So, that is very, very intriguing. And then also, they flipped 2 of the 4 districts. But I see a lot of comments on my videos or other political videos saying, I'm from Iowa, and there's a lot of enthusiasm for Joe Biden and Teresa Greenfield, who is the Senate candidate. And that may be true, but again, for example, people tend to judge, I live in this state, and I see a bunch of signs for this candidate, they're going to win the state. That's not always the case, For example, I live in an area that does actually lean Republican, but I see a lot of Biden signs, which I guess is a good sign for him, but no pun intended. But, that really is, that really is subjective, so I try not to weight that. But the House elections at a statewide level are important to look at. Now, they are skewed a little bit because of this 4th congressional district. Steve King was an openly racist member of Congress. That race is closer than it should have been. So, the Republicans, King won this race by 10,000 votes, but with Randy Feenstra running now, he'll win it by a lot more than that, possibly making it safe. I think it will be likely, but, it's still important to look at the midterm elections because they're the most recent elections that we've held, and we had pretty high turnout in the midterms, but we're still going to have higher turnout this presidential election year. So, I also want to mention really quickly that Hillary Clinton was a really bad candidate to run in Iowa. She campaigned there, sure, but she really had no appeal to a lot of these voters. She barely won the Iowa caucuses, and Donald Trump lost the Iowa caucus. But, Donald Trump was a great candidate to win in the state of Iowa. He made his whole campaign about bringing jobs back from China, talking to these voters that felt left behind by the establishment. And Hillary Clinton was the establishment. That's part of the reason why she lost the election. And that's why she lost an anti-establishment state like Iowa. So, yeah. So, we've looked at the midterms and we concluded, okay, the Democrats did well, but that was partially skewed because of the 4th district being closer than it should have been. But Trump versus Biden, the polling from RCP, pretty limited. It averages out to a tie. We've seen one poll Biden ahead by 3, one with Trump ahead by 3, and one with the tie. The most credible one that sampled the most voters, or some of the most likely voters, has it as a tie. But the second best one from a A+ rated pollster, according to 538, put Joe Biden ahead by 3, and then Monmouth is a pretty good poll as well. But the average is 46% for each candidate. So, so that's important to remember. But let's go to 538. They show better polling in general in Iowa. So what are the best polls saying? Well, the best polls from Monmouth University, which is a very good poll, Trump had by 3, by 3, by 3, by 6, and then by 3 again. And then this poll has it as even. This poll has it as even again. Trump by 2, Trump by 2. But the better polls are starting. Oh, and by the way, this is Biden ahead by 10. But these are just starting to, get better for the Democrats because the most recent ones, we've seen the most recent polls skew towards Trump a little bit. I mean, yeah, Biden is making it closer than it was in March, but he actually, I believe he made it a 0.3% margin lead for Donald Trump, and in the middle of for a few days in June he had the lead there. So Iowa never really has been leading. Biden's never been leading in Iowa for a while, but he still is doing worse than I think he could be doing. So again, not a knock on Joe Biden, or his campaign, but Iowa is winnable for them. And I'm going to tell you what. Well, we've looked at the House elections, but we also need to look at the JHK forecast. And when I say winnable, that doesn't mean I think Joe Biden's going to win, but the JHK forecast gives Biden a very good chance at winning here. In fact, he was the favorite to win for like one day in August. But Joe Biden is expected to get 47.4% of the vote, basically 47.5% of the vote. And and that's the thing to sneeze at. And she still has a 41.3% chance at winning the state of Iowa. So that is something, because back in March, he had 26.8% chance at winning, which is different, by the way. He's not the favorite for sure, but he is making a comeback. And Iowa, 4 out of every 10 times Iowa goes to Joe Biden. That's not over 50% of the time, but he's still making a play for Iowa in a state that I had thought, back in February to be likely or safe Republican. So my model for Iowa has it as a tilt, or actually as a lean Republican state, but I am going to first of all, I haven't adjusted the polls yet. This is pretty old data, released data from, a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. And I'm going to give Joe Biden the benefit of the doubt here and say it's tilt, because Hillary Clinton was such a bad candidate. The Democrats did very well in midterms, which I think are more important than one poll that has Trump ahead by 3, or, the JHK forecast, which again is a great forecast, not a knock on JHK forecast. By the way, at the time of me calculating the model, Trump was ahead by 1.2%. Now it's down to 1.5%. So it's still really important to remember that this data is somewhat old. My data, I'll take credit for that. But now let's go to this model, which again, I got a comment saying that this accurately predicted a lot of elections in 2019, 2018, and oh wow, they changed Ohio to blue. Okay, well apparently, I analyzed this model a few days ago, and Biden apparently took the lead in Ohio, so great for him. But Iowa, they still have as a um, Trump state, I guess you could say, and he is expected to win the state of Iowa by 0.4%, and he has a 53% chance of winning it. Joe Biden has 47% chance at winning it. So most of these models agree with me that Iowa is a Trump state, but a very close one at that. So when I call Iowa a Trump state, Wyoming is a Trump state, California is a Biden state, for example. I wouldn't call Iowa a Trump state. I'd say that he's favored to win there, so that's what you have to remember. But midterm data is very, very good for the Democrats, and Teresa Greenfield is running ahead of Joe Biden, at least in the polls. We don't know whether she'll finish ahead or behind him in the state of Iowa when it's all said and done. But it is expected that this state will be close, and I think saying it's that, I get a lot of people saying that it's likely Republican. To those people who are saying that, I don't think that you're looking clearly enough at the data, you're just interpreting it the way you want to interpret it. That's fine, you can have your opinion, but Iowa has a way of skewing right, in the summer, and then starting to come back to where the country is. In the country, Joe Biden is narrowly favored to win this election. I do think Iowa will vote to the right of the country, as it has. Iowa is not a tipping point state by any means in this election, but it could be a Biden state, and I think that would be significant, even though it's only 6 electoral votes. So, again, guys, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on post notifications to see every... Oh, forgot to mention one thing. Whoops, that's embarrassing. But Donald Trump, by the way, he had a 3% lead in the polls on Election Day. And let's actually look at what the polls were. So, whoa, I don't want to do that. Okay. We're going to have to reload the page because I have something highlighted. But where were we, towards the end of September? September 20... Whoa, okay. Let's not do that. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I don't know what it is, but currently it's tied in Iowa, according to the polling data from RCP. But on this day, September 28th, by the way, the debate's tomorrow, Donald Trump ahead by 5, he won it by 9.5, 4.5% margin of underestimation. That's a good sign for him. So that's part of the reason why I give him the edge here. So guys, again, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you don't miss a single UEP video. And yeah, that's it. And I'll see you all in the next one.